Hello everyone, I'm MSL and welcome here. Um, this session is the first video or first lecture in from chapter 11 from the whole curriculum or whole syllabus from the or of the Advanced Medical Science Liaison and Medical Monitor Certification course, AMSLC course by CCRPS. And it's chapter 11 about the investigator and site management. And in chapter 11, we'll start with the topic uh, for this session about the investigator, qualification, training, and protocol adherence. Introduction about the topic. Clinical trial success relies heavily on the qualifications of the investigators, the principal investigators, the PIs, robust and targeted training programs, and unwavering protocol adherence. So these elements collectively uphold the integrity, safety, and effectiveness of clinical research. Investigators, the principal investigators, or for short PIs, serve as the backbone of clinical trials, tasked with ensuring ethical compliance, safeguarding patients, generating high-quality data, and meeting complex regulatory requirements. However, even the most qualified professionals need consistent, tailored training to adapt to evolving protocols, novel therapies, and technological advancements. Protocol adherence plays an equally critical role in clinical trials. Deviating from the prescribed trial plan can jeopardize patient safety, the participant safety, invalidate results, and lead to regulatory setbacks. Ensuring investigators, the principal investigators, understand and implement protocols consistently is key to achieving trial objectives and securing faster regulatory approvals. For the advanced physician, medical monitors, or clinical scientists, some sponsors or employers might name them, it is essential to deeply understand the dynamics of investigator qualification, provide adaptive and impactful training programs, and champion rigorous protocol adherence. The key points for the topic: investigator qualification, definition and components. Investigator Principal investigator qualification refers to the collective skills, knowledge, and experience required to oversee and successfully execute clinical trials. These qualifications demonstrate an investigator's competence and readiness to maintain ethical standards and research credibility. Key components we can start with education. As investigators, principal investigators must hold relevant academic degrees. As for an example, an MD, medical doctor or doctor of medicine holder with a subspecialty in endocrinology is selected for a diabetes trial. It does make sense. Diabetes trial um, 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 can be such trial can be supervised and conducted by a principal investigator who is MD with a subspecialty in endocrinology. Experience. Experience in conducting clinical research or managing patient studies ensures readiness for trial responsibilities. As for an example, a senior investigator with experience leading three oncology trials. Competence in GCP, good clinical practice and regulations. Principal investigators must understand good clinical practice, GCP guidelines, ICH, International Council for Harmonization Standards, and country-specific requirements. As for example, a researcher trained in FDA compliance for investigational medical devices. Leadership and communication, effective collaboration with study staff to resolve issues and communicate with sponsors and CROs. Um, CROs as of contract research coordinators or clinical research as of contract research organizations or clinical research organizations. As for an example, a lead investigator ensures immediate resolution of adverse event reporting discrepancies. The importance ensures trial integrity and participant safety, the importance for the investigator's qualifications, as it ensures trial integrity and participant patient safety, enhances compliance with the sponsors and regulators' expectations, promotes faster issue resolution through experience and leadership. Now, the challenges in investigator qualification: lack of uniform qualification standards, so criteria can vary across sponsors, therapeutic fields, and geographical regions. The solution for that: develop predefined metrics for investigator selection based on project needs. Limited pool of experienced investigators. Emerging disease areas, for example, rare diseases, lack seasoned researchers. Um, as a solution resolution for that, introduce mentorship programs for younger investigators. Application. Selecting appropriate skilled investigators, principal investigators, aids in trial sustainability and success. As for example, for a cardiology-focused trial, selecting investigators with publications in cardiac imaging improves procedural accuracy and study reliability. Here's a diagram summarizes the investigator qualification hierarchy as starts from GCP competence, experience to education. From top to bottom or from bottom to top, education, experience, then GCP, good clinical practice competence. Training requirements. So purpose of training. Training equips investigators and their teams with the tools they need to ensure patient safety, adhere to ethical standards and trial protocols, minimize errors in data collection. Types of investigator training. Good clinical practice GCP training covers regulatory guidelines and standards for ethical compliance. As for example, good clinical practice, a GCP course, focuses on the proper documentation of serious adverse events, SAE. Protocol-specific training, tailored courses that fully cover the nuances of the protocol. As for example, a pediatric research team practices device calibration for neonatal respiratory monitoring. Safety training teaches investigators to identify and report safety risks efficiently. As for example, assigning training modules on implementing pharmacovigilance systems. Data management ensures understanding of accurate data reporting systems, as for example, training site staff to use EDC electronic data capture platforms to reduce query rates. Best practices and training delivery. Tailored programs, design training suited to the individual roles, investigators versus coordinators. Blended learning use both e-learning and hands-on workshops for in-depth coverage. Real-world simulations incorporate patient scenarios into training sessions, as for example, simulating informed consent challenges in vulnerable populations. Regular refresher training, conduct periodic updates as protocols or regulations evolve. As for example, mid-study amendments initiate targeted training on dose escalation. Challenges in investigator training, time constraints, as investigators often juggle research with the clinical practice. As for solution, adapt modular electronic learning systems for on-demand knowledge delivery. Consistency, ensuring uniform application of training at global trial sites. Solution for that, implement centralized training platforms across regions. Impact. Well-executed training ensures compliance, accelerates trial initiation, and minimizes deviations. As for example, advanced GCP, good clinical practice workshops, lead to 30% fewer protocol violation flags during audits in global vaccine studies. And here's a nice diagram summarizes uh, the idea of unveiling the dimensions of investigator training. So we have here the investigator training, good clinical practice, GCP training, protocol specific training, safety training, and data management. Protocol adherence. What is protocol adherence? So protocol adherence ensures investigators, principal investigators, strictly follow trial guidelines on eligibility, dosing, timeline, and more. Importance of protocol adherence as in patient safety, adhering to dosing and exclusion criteria protects participants, the patients who are participating. Examples, enforcing age cutoffs eliminates pediatric exposure to investigational drugs or investigational products, IPs, meant for adults. Regulatory compliance consistency with protocols aligns with ICH, International Council for Harmonization, and regulatory body requirements. As for example, the FDA's Bioresearch Monitoring Program stresses adherence for expedited approvals. Data credibility minimizes variability and maintains data reliability, as for example, ensuring specific visit schedules for endpoint evaluations in diet um, or diet trials. Strategies for ensuring adherence. So develop protocol checklists for easy to day-to-day use. Monitor adherence remotely via risk-based monitoring RBM platforms. Um, Train site staff to quickly remedy deviations. Conduct routine audits using centralized dashboards. Challenges in adherence, unintentional deviations resulting from user error or miscommunication. The solution for that, translate complex protocols into simpler workflow systems. Resistance to change, as staff accustomed to prior protocols are hesitant. And the solution or resolution for that, provide user-centric visual job aids. As for resistance to change, staff accustomed to prior protocols are hesitant, meaning that the site staff more used to prior protocols, um, um, so they are hesitant. So there is resistance to change. Solution for that is provide user-centric visual job aids. And here the diagram summarizes the importance of protocol adherence in clinical trials, as we have the data credibility, regulatory compliance, patient safety, and protocol adherence. Recent advancements. So we have the digital learning platforms. So platforms incorporate quizzes, videos, and case simulations to improve user engagement. As example for that is Adaptive E electronic learning trains investigators on SAE, serious adverse event reporting systems, with 30% time savings. Centralized monitoring tools, technology monitors, adherence to randomization protocols and visit timelines. As example for that, dashboard analytics flag discrepancies automatically for quick resolution. Risk-based training (RBT) focuses training on protocol areas most prone to errors bias to reduce redundant content. Example for that, um, concentrating training on investigator blinding techniques in double-blind trials. Mentorship models, pairing less experienced investigators with senior mentors builds long-term competency. Example for that, a senior spirometry trainer oversees new investigators in a global COPD trial. So those are recent advancements as of digital learning platforms, centralized monitoring tools, risk-based training, RBT, and mentorship models. And here's a nice diagram summarizes the idea of exploring innovations in clinical training as we have the recent advancements in clinical training, digital learning platforms, centralized monitoring tools, risk-based training, RBT, and mentorship models. Real-world applications and mastery. Advanced physician medical monitors, MMs, must integrate these strategies to drive better trial outcomes. Application deploy VR-guided training for emergency protocols in pediatric vaccine trials. Example, centralized systems ensure remote adherence checks for trials conducted across 10 countries. Future trends streamline data-driven mentor systems and enhance dashboard customization, reduce investigator workload, and improve compliance. Mastery over qualification. Training and adherence principles helps ensure superior outcomes, reflecting both ethical integrity and operational excellence in clinical research. So this here diagram to reflect on strategies for medical monitors, MMs, as an application, deploy VR guided training for emergency protocols in pediatric vaccine trials. Example, centralized systems ensure remote adherence checks for trials conducted across 10 countries. Future trends streamlined data-driven mentor systems and enhanced dashboard customization, reduce investigator workload, and improve compliance. Summary tables. As table 1, we have the key components of investigator qualification, aspect, requirement. Example, aspect, we have the education, experience, competence, leadership skills, communication. Another table about the training components of investigators. As of training topic, key area of focus, benefit example. We have the GCP compliance, good clinical practice compliance, protocol specific safety management, data handling, and refresher programs. Then we have the importance of protocol adherence aspect, compliance measure, reason, and example aspect. We have visit schedule, dose administration, record keeping, staff coordination, and audit preparation. Another table about the challenges and solutions in training and adherence. The challenge impacts solution implementation as the challenges here time constraints, complex protocols, resource gaps, unintentional deviations, or regulatory misalignment. Um, the recent advancements here in investigator training protocol adherence, we have the advancement, description, benefit, and use case. The advancement, we have interactive simulations, central monitoring tools, risk-based training, qualification frameworks, and mentorship models. Then we have the application table as scenarios. For each scenario, the key principle applied, key actions, timeline, and what to watch out for. As scenarios here, we have the recruitment of investigators for a global Alzheimer's disease investigator qualification, the principle that was applied, training site staff or emergency drug administration procedures, tailored GCP and safety training principle was applied for it. Protocol deviations in oncology drug dosing protocol adherence principle was applied. Ensuring data accuracy in pediatric diabetes trials, the risk-based training was the principle that was applied. Continuous scenarios, use of infusion pumps during cardiovascular trials, simulation-based training was the principle that was applied. Monitoring adherence to patient visit schedules in a chronic disease trial, centralized compliance monitoring was the principle that was applied. Addressing staff turnover during a vaccine trial, the principle that was applied. Advanced mentorship models. Continue with the scenarios. Developing a protocol adherence strategy for novel gene therapies. The key principle that was applied: detailed protocol training. Scenario of preparing site investigators for a rare disease trial. Standardized qualification frameworks was the principle that was applied. Final compliance audits before site closeout, prior to site closeout. Streamlined audit processes was the principle that was applied, is the principle that was applied. Now to revise the lecture, we have some MCQs, multiple choice questions. Ask question 1. What is a primary reason for prioritizing investigator qualification in clinical trials? Is it A, to reduce trial costs regardless of investigator expertise? B, to improve trial outcomes through qualified oversight and compliance? C, to ensure investigators only communicate with sponsors. D, to minimize the need for training by selecting inexperienced staff. So it's definitely B, as to improve trial outcomes through qualified oversight and compliance. So qualified investigators contribute to better trial outcomes by ensuring ethical standards, principal safety, accurate data collection, adherence to regulatory requirements, all of which are vital for trial success. Question 2. Which type of training ensures investigators understand the specifics of a trial protocol? Is it general medical education, or B, regulatory compliance audits, or C, protocol-specific training, or D, adverse event certification training? So since it's specifics of a trial protocol, so protocol-specific training, C, protocol-specific training focuses on equipping investigators with detailed knowledge of the trial's unique procedures and objectives, such as handling specialized equipment or managing study endpoints. Question 3, why is protocol adherence critical in clinical trials? A, it allows for improvisation to address participant preferences. B, it ensures data integrity, participant safety, and regulatory compliance. C, it eliminates the need for training and audits. D, it focuses only on reducing study timeframes. So why is protocol adherence critical? Why? So it is B. It ensures data integrity, participant, patient safety, and regulatory compliance. The protocol adherence. So adhering to the trial protocol ensures consistent data collection, protects participant safety, the patients who are participating, their safety, and meets regulatory requirements, all of which are essential for credible and valid outcomes. What is a significant challenge in investigator training, and how can it be addressed? Is it A, overqualified investigators, reduce training requirements, or B, time constraints, implement flexible e-learning programs, geographic limitations, increase on-site training costs, or limited protocol updates, eliminate regular refresher courses? So it is the time constraints B, and how can be addressed? Implement flexible electronic learning programs. Investigators often balance clinical responsibilities with training. Modular, flexible e-learning platforms allow them to complete training at their own pace without disrupting their primary duties. Question 5. Which recent advancement enhances protocol adherence monitoring? Is it A, fully manual site audits, B, centralized data monitoring systems, C, restricting investigator communications, or D, eliminating protocol-specific checklists? So for sure, not eliminating protocol-specific checklists and not restricting investigator communications. So it is B. The answer is B. Centralized data monitoring systems as one of the advancements. Centralized monitoring. Centralized monitoring systems remotely track trial compliance in real time, highlighting missed patient visits or deviations, thereby improving protocol adherence while reducing manual oversight burdens. And here we come to end of this lecture. Thank you very much and goodbye.